בּרכי נפשׁי is Hashem, my neshama praises Hashem. The whole krovai, and with my whole insides, with the whole pnimius, with the whole innerness of my being, I praise Hashem Kodsha. What does this mean? What does he mean here? On our way, he said to him, I'll tell you what the pasuk refers to. Go u're'ei, come and see. Shaloi ki midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu midas basar v'dam. Man, in his world, man is the apex of the Bria. Man is the melech that rules the world, that rules the universe. So the Gemara says, and we'll come back to the comparison that the Gemara always means, we'll soon come back to it. When the Gemara compares the midos, the mahus, the personality of man, the Gemara compares it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sheloi ki midas basar v'dam midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Midas basar v'dam, you find between human beings, Sar Tzura al Gabi HaKoisel, a person paints a mural on a wall, a gifted artist. Rembrandt paints a mural on the wall. Michelangelo. A beautiful mural. Ve'eino yochel lahakel b'ruach u'neshama kirbai u'bnei ma'ayim. The picture is beautiful. It looks like a human being. It brings out the most hidden and inner features of a human being. An artist with his talent can show you the most sensitive characteristics that a specific person had in his. He can show you the evil that lies in a person, and he can show you the vulgarity that lies in a person. He can show you the poetry and the music that lies in a person in a picture. But the Gemara says that's all he can do. He cannot give life to that picture. Eino yochel lahakel bo ruach u'neshama. A ruach and neshama he can't give to that picture. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu any can. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not like that, the Gemara says. Sar tzura b'toich tzura. He takes an existing tzura, an existing picture, an existing form, and within that tzura, he creates a totally different tzura. Umatel bo ruach neshama b'nei ma'ayim v'kirbayim. And he takes that picture within another picture and he instills it with a ruach, with a neshama, and we'll come back. So I just want to read the text. And on this phenomenon, this difference between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the basar v'dam, between the art, so to speak, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the art of the genius of the basar v'dam, in this difference, Hainu the Amra Chana. This is what Hannah said in Hashira. In Shmuel, she said, Ein Kodosh Kashem. There is no Kedusha like Hashem, Ki Ein Biltecha. The Ein Tzur Kelakei. There is no rock like Hashem. So the Gemara asks, My the Ein Tzur Kelakei. What did Chana mean when she referred to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a rock? So the Gemara says the word Sur really means Tzayar. The ain't Tzayar Kelvin. There, Chana meant there is no artist like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to understand what the Gemara is saying here. It seems that The Gemara is telling us a simplicity, something, a truism which everybody knows, that the Rebbeinu Shalom is a B'rei Olam, that the Rebbeinu Shalom has the power of creation, the power of Bria, and that a human being cannot create a person. What is the Gemara telling us here? What is the point of the Gemara? What is the Gemara telling us here? That Ein Tzur Kelokeinu, Ein Tzayer Kelokeinu. There's no artist like a coach. And the Gemara says that an artist, he paints a picture on a wall, on a canvas, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Tzar Tzura B'toich Tzura. He takes an existing tzura, an existing form, and within that form comes another. If you put your ears close to this Gemara, you know, there is in this Gemara strength, power, energy to take each one of us and to make a giant out of us. And all our individual weaknesses, and all our personal failures, and all our, I would almost say, all our tragedies within ourselves hinge up upon what the Gemara is trying to tell us. You have to put an ear to the Gemara. What does the Gemara say? It's good to review a thing which was mentioned a number of times. In Lashon HaKodesh, the word for face is panim. Panim is a face. What does panim have to do with the face? Because in Lashon HaKodesh, the identical word, the way it's written, means innerness, inside. Pnimiyut. The concept of face in Lashon HaKodesh, a face is actually a window. A face is actually something that's red. Many people can look at a face and tell you what you see. You can see, emotions, you certainly can see in a face. Anger, happiness, distress. These are certainly things that can be read in a face. Anybody can read that. But those whose sensitivities are purified, that have a Gavaldik guitar, a big tzaddikim, they can see things in a face, fantastic things in a face. You can see vulgarity in a face. You can see edelkeit in a face. You can see a face like a book, and certainly bit Mekubalim have their klobim, what you see in the face. So in Lashon HaKodesh, the word ponim, which means face, is actually, it's like you're saying that at this part of the body, you can see what the inside is. The Gemara says, Kishem she'ein partzufeim shavos, kach ein deyaseyim shavos. Gemara says it expressly. Just as there are no two identical faces, there are no two identical faces, so there are no two identical neshamas. It's something which is a common fact. It's something that many of us know. But when you start to think of all the perhaps 2 billion people that there are in the world, there are 2 billion unique existences. There are 2 billion. What does this uniqueness mean? There are 2 billion people in the world that each person it has a different panim and a different pnim, a different existence, which is totally and absolutely unique. One of the nisyonis of our times one of the tests that a person who is looking for ruchnius is faced with in our times is to hear and to feel and to experience his own uniqueness. Because the tendency, the flow, the climate of society today is to make everything mass. Both from a point of view of politics and both from the point of view of economics. The situation in the world today is to deal with identical, neat masses. That masses should fit into a unique pattern. And the Mela, because of the political and the economic situation in the world, is people begin to lose their identity. People begin to positively lose the Shmiya Soisen to hear their uniqueness. This is a tragedy of tragedies. Because if I don't hear that I am unique, I don't hear that I have a mission in this world. If I don't hear that I am singular, that my neshama is a spark, is a singular spark that cannot be duplicated, and that is not duplicated in the whole wide world, I cannot hear my raison d'etre, my being. There's a Gemara in Kedushin. The Gemara says in Kedushin, a fantastic Gemara, which I never understood. The Gemara says in Kedushin that a person should view himself as if he is a scale, and the scales are balanced exactly even. And if he does a mitzvah, the Gemara says, Umachriya es kola olam lekaf schus. He weighs the world to the size of schus. And if he does chas v'sholem and he weighs the world lekaf choiva to the size of choiv. For years and years and years it used to bother me. Is this a reality? Can a person in the Gemara actually telling us that we should walk around every second? I'll tip the scales. I'll destroy the world with my deeds. I'll destroy the world. I mean, what is the Gemara telling us? The Gemara is the essence, the apex of dealing realistically with a human being in the world. The Gemara is so in harmony with the nature of the world. What is the Gemara telling us? My behavior. But with this Gemara, we can understand that Gemara. The Gemara says here, Ein Sur Kelokeinu, Ein Tzayor Kelokeinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzar Tzura B'toich Tzura means, the Gemara says that every individual in the world is singular. He is unique. He is also a part of humanity. You have to look at the world as a machine, as a delicate machine. If all parts are the same, if all are just cogs and wheels and springs that are the same, that are duplications of the same thing, then it's totally irrelevant whatever I do, whether I do a mitzvah or I do an aveira, whether I'm steeped in the maximum of toiv or I'm steeped in the maximum of ra, it makes absolutely no difference because there's another part to be replaced. But if everyone is unique, if everyone's neshama is there is no duplicity, then every part of the machine is singular. Then if one part of the machine fails, it affects the machine in some way. A 6-cylinder car could probably work with 5 cylinders, but it's not what it should be. The Gemara says that a person has, that Gemara Kedushin means that You can only understand that Gemara in Kedushin, that what I do with my b'chira, what I do with my b'chira affects the world. Ein tzayah kelakei. How many people do we know? And between ourselves, if a person heard, if a person understood, if a person felt, if a person had an awareness, a constant awareness that we are unique, each one of us are unique, and each one of us has a mission. If a person had in his pocket a letter from President Nixon to Kosygin to deliver a letter, a diplomatic letter of great importance, you'd feel every second back. I'm carrying a letter. I have a mission to do. To deliver this document, this important document from Nixon to Kosygin. It's impossible for a person with such a mission not to feel. A man, Dr. Salk, he invented the vaccine for. He felt the man. I'm not evaluating his scientific contribution, but the man felt in his life he did something that affected whole humanity. It's not a question of ego, it's a question of feeling. The Gemara says that a person has to feel in his b'chira that he affects whole humanity. Because we don't know the physics of an neshama. In the world of physics, we know if you go out into the mountains and you see a beautiful lake in the evening when the lake looks like a mirror, and you take a pebble and you throw it into the lake, and it makes a big ripple here and it makes another ripple there, we know in physics that that affected the whole lake. With our eyes, we can only see so much, but we know that the whole balance, that it's impossible, there isn't an IBM machine yet ready to calculate the whole balance of nature. What happened? I just threw a pebble into the lake. And whatever is true for the material world, it's only a reflection of the Olam Abuchni. What's wrong with us? What happens when we don't feel that the Rebbeinu Shalom was Tsar, Tzura B'Tech, Ein Tzayor Kelokein? What happens to us? Here we're sitting a group of people in this room. We're sitting a group of people in this room. Do you know what potential power, the Fatoif, there is in this room? If we would, see, we don't know ourselves. We don't know the physics of the neshama. When we intensively and authentically and with a lishma do a ma'aseh mitzvah, we don't know how far it's impossible to calculate. There was in Yerushalayim. I once went into a shul to daven. I sat down next to a fellow. I don't know if he was a chassid, and he davened with such a dveikis. He started from the beginning of the davening, and it was Shabbos morning, and he put the towel over his head. He said the first few words and began to cry. And the whole davening, in Yerushalayim, you find such a places where they daven like that. I was sitting, I couldn't daven. But he actually, at that time, he didn't know it, but there was a young American fellow sitting there in 1952. He was teaching somebody how to daven. Not only was he teaching somebody how to daven, he opened up a new world to me. And a few other people that were sitting there, they were davening, they didn't want to wear anybody's there. They had a talus over their head, over their face. They can't see anybody. But he was putting his whole koyach into toy, and it affected me. I'm not only speaking of visual aid. I'm not speaking as an educational technique. It's much, much deeper than that. When a person with his b'chira is megala toiv in the world, when a person with his b'chira shows toiv, it's infectious, it communicates. Energy, ruchniistic energy is unleashed in the brain. The whole every door, every generation has different nisyonis, have different tests. The nisoyon, the test that faced people 20 years ago was totally different than what's facing us. The forces of Ra that manipulate us in the most, I'm not talking in the gross ways, but in the most subtlest ways, to make us forget that we are Yechidim. I tell over a number of times a story that happened to me when I was in my teens. I told it in the seminary, but it's kedai to hear the story. I used to daven in a shul. And at that time, there were old women from Europe yet, you know. They went with tichlach till here, sleeves till here. They wore, you know, 3-4 skirts down to the floor. There wasn't. And there were between them women that couldn't even read in the siddur. But they came to shul 3 times a day. They couldn't read in the siddur. And they used to stand in back of the woman that could read. And they used to listen, and she used to translate for them. And they used to stand there and cry. One Friday night, we were coming home from shul, and we used to walk the Rav home from shul. So this old woman, which I knew she was walking in front of us, very old woman. And, you know, she heard us talking, you know, so she moved to the side, you know, by the house to let the Rav pass. Walked by a little bit. The Rav smiled and said good Shabbos to her. The Rav told me, he says, you see this old lady? Let me tell you a story about this old lady. Who she is, what she is. She lost her husband. And her children at that time, this was right, you know, tail end of the Depression, and her children did not suffer the Depression. They were well-to-do. So he told me then they used to pay her rent and the utilities, the gas, the electric, and they used to give her besides that $40 a week. This woman, a whole week, she used to eat kasher milk. Europeans, Russians, it's the warm milk with kasher with kochen, and they used to eat that. Whole week, that's all she ate. The only bread that she ate during the week was from the challah that she baked left over from Shabbos. And Shabbos, she used to eat what Jews eat Shabbos. Whatever they eat. He says, a long time ago, he didn't tell me how many years, she came to me. And she sat down and she said, Rebbe, I don't know how to read the siddur. I don't know. I don't have any interest to go any place to do anything. I'm all alone in the world. And I begin to think, what am I doing here? I'm extra baggage. She says, Rebbe, I thought and thought. She says, I came to a conclusion. The following conclusion. I can live on $10 a week. So I have an extra $30 a week. Now, if you have an idea, in those times, $30 a week is like today you say $150 a week. And not much. A family lived on $30 a week in 1930s. So, she says, Rebbe, I have to do something in this world. So I decided that I want, you should take the $30 a week and send it to Yerushalayim and pick out a few families that all they do is sit and learn. So she sent for years $120 a month. So it's like you say you send today 500,000. So the Rav told me, this was going on for years and years, that these three families that he supported, big families, between them grew up Rabbanim, Rosh Yeshivas, authors of famous works on the Shas. It's unbelievable what one woman who couldn't read, who began to think into what is the meaning of her existence in this world, which seemed totally vacuous, totally boring existence in this world. The conclusion that one woman, illiterate woman, what she did in this world. Her whole act was a result of searching for meaning for her existence. This is what the Gemara tells us here. That Chana said, Ein Zur Kelokeinu. And the Gemara says it means, Ein Tzaya Kelokeinu means that every Yochid v'Yochid in their existence, in their life existence, has to hear, has to dig into himself and has to find a way of understanding, has to find that his doinus. A person has to hear that he's a Yochid. Our whole avodah would be different if we treated ourselves, if we felt ourselves, the uniqueness in ourselves. You could never forget. You reach a certain dignity, a certain kavod atzmi, a certain self-respect. If a person hears in the pnimi, his neshama is a yochid. This is this piece of Gemara. This is the end of this piece of Gemara. Ein Zur Kelokeinu. Now, the Gemara continues, and I must read to you first this piece of Gemara. The details of the Gemara we will not be able to learn today. What the generality of the Gemara I try to explain. Hey Bּרכי nafshׁי kineged mi amoron David. The Gemara starts all over again. The Gemara says, these 5 Bּרכי nafshׁis that David HaMelech said, corresponding to what did he say? The Gemara says, Boy Omron elo kineged HaKadosh Baruch Hu kineged neshama. That these 5 Bּרכי nafshׁis was said corresponding to a Kadosh Baruch Hu and corresponding to a person's neshama. The Gemara goes and says the following: Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu molei kol ha'olam, just as a Kadosh Baruch Hu fills the whole world, we'll soon talk about that. Af neshama molei kol ha'olam. So the neshama that's in the person fills his whole world. Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu roya ve'eino nireh, just as Elikus is something that you don't see in the material sense. Af neshama roya ve'eino nireh. So the neshama exists and functions and has an awareness, but it cannot be seen. Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu zones kol ha'olam kulon, just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives sustenance to the whole world. Af neshama zonas kol ha'olam. So the neshama gives sustenance to the whole. Try to explain each one. Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu Torah, just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Torah. Af neshama tahara. So the neshama is an essence of tahara, of purity, which cannot be defiled. Ma HaKadosh Baruch Hu yoshev b'chadrei chadarim. Just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu sits, we use this word, but is removed, is hidden, b'chadrei chadarim. The essence, the intrinsic essence of Elikus is inaccessible to a human being. Af neshama yosheves b'chadrei chadarim. Yovoi mi sheyesh po chamisha dvorim halolu v'yishabeach lo mi sheyesh po chamisha dvorim. David HaMelech said, let the human being who has these 5 aspects come and be mishabeach HaKadosh Baruch Hu that has these 5 aspects. We won't be able to learn the Gemara today, but I just want to again here, as an extension of what we just spoke, to be masber, to explain what does the Gemara mean here with this comparison of the neshama and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What is it? That's the Surah B'Tartzim. The Gemara is saying here something which is so potent and which is forgotten today. I'll try to say it in a crux, in essence, and then to work our way back to explain it. If the Gemara didn't say it, then no human being could say it. This thing that we call Adam, this brie that the Chumash was Adam, the Gemara says in a distant, mysterious, hidden way, is a replica in Zeir Anpin, in mysterious, hidden way. It's a replica in Zeir Anpin, you have to be very careful how I say it, in a most, in a spark way, in a spark of a cool. This entity that today is being trampled on, that is being reduced to an animal, that is being turned into a totally material entity, buried in this total of desires, of tightness, of pettiness, there is buried in Surah Odom, that in some way that Surah Sodom, who knows how many billion light years away, to speak in mathematical terms, is correlated to the course. The Gemara says that these 5 bּרכי נפשׁי that David HaMelech said in Tehillim correspond to 5 parallels of the Rebbeinu Shalom's relationship with the Kasim. And then the Gemara concludes, Yovei mi sheyesh bo chamisha dvorim halalu, let the one who in this world has these 5 aspects and be mishabeach in that relationship HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have to hear one thing here, that the only way that this Adam has the ability or the potential, the megalachkeit, to have access to the relationship of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzad nishmasa. Mitzad nishmasa is this that we have a neshama in our guf, this that we have a neshama in our guf, this in a way which cannot, it's so difficult to say, you have to be very careful here not to fall into certain types of classical philosophers. You have to be very careful here, because there is in classical philosophy, it's not my place to teach these courses, but you have to be very careful to see the difference between this. But the Gemara says that in a dimion, there's a tsura in a person. There's a tsura in a person. There is a form in a person that relates itself mamish for it. There is. You have to be very careful Kimata, Ochem Kodem Temus. The Pasuk says, B'nei Kimata, Ochem Kodem Temus. The Pasuk can say that. I use it only as a mashal. We have lost in our lives, we have lost this feeling of the Elyoinius, of the Atzilus. We have lost this feeling of the etherealness of a human being, of the Himmeldigkeit of a human being. We are so flooded, and we are so pulled down, and we are so earthbound that we have. The Gemara says here that these b'רכי nafshis, these 5 b'רכי nafshis, are 5 aspects of a parallel between that which we are toifus in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that which is given for us to understand in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and there is a direct relationship in a mysterious way, which perhaps is inexplicable, but there's a way where there's a direct relationship that Yovei Mishi Yesh B'Chamishet Dvorim Alolu V'Yishabech Mishi Yesh B'Chamishet Dvorim Alolu. There could never be a Yovoi. We could never be put in a position to relate to a likus that we didn't have the neshama. That means that in the koyach of the neshama, the whole existence of the neshama, the whole existence of the neshama is the link, what they call the missing link. This is the missing link buried in a guf. These gemaras, I must tell you girls, it's something that, sometimes you learn something and you understand it, you put it in a notebook and you digest it, and it affects you, and we get weiter, and you go on. I must tell you that this whole page of Gemara is almost the whole page that we learn. Somebody's writing up the Gemara, so you'll get the copies of it. It's something that you have to keep in a notebook, and it's not something that you can put away. It's something that has to be dwelled upon. The whole Gemara from the beginning of 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks ago. Today, in the world, we have forgotten what it mentions. Our whole work, we need fantastic yekiyah. We need fantastic inner avoided to retrieve the dignity of what it mentions. From the smallest little things to the biggest things. And if you're mispointed in these Gemaras, if you look over these Gemaras and you try to understand, I would be glad to answer anybody's questions about this Gemara. You'll see that the Gemara here, it's an anatomy from the beginning of the Gemara that we started 2 weeks ago until there. You see the Gemara here is telling you the anatomy, the anatomy of the neshama. It's very difficult, be careful, you cannot, even in the shir, you cannot say everything. There's much more than I've said that is contained here. It's something that you have to learn again and again and again and again, and it's something that you have to think about. Because our very success or failure in this world depends upon understanding these things. We either fall into eternal anonymity, not a question of what they discuss in literature, immortality, it doesn't mean that. But it's rather, it's whether we have any measure of success in this world. I'm sure that old lady that couldn't read and write, I'm absolutely batuach in her immortality. And I feel I haven't quite done justice today to the Gemaras because of the nature of the subject. But you'll get a copy of the Gemaras, and if you want to ask me, maybe we should take another share and discuss it publicly and to let everybody ask if you look over the Gemaras, and perhaps it'll come out a little clearer. But we have to plow up the ground in these areas. I mean, this is vital. This is germinal to our whole being. Anything that we learn is a prat or an aspect or because this is taking, is putting your hand on the neshama itself. So